I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Friday.
We're going to get you ready for the weekend.
News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. This is an hour you're not going to want to miss. Colorado mother speaking out after her 22-year-old daughter, Carissa, becomes severely disabled after an illegal alien who came into our country during the Biden administration crashed into her and fled the scene. The result, Carissa, now wheelchair-bound, nonverbal, minimally conscious. She can't smile. She doesn't laugh. She can't say I love you to her mother. This is such a heartbreaking story, but it's so important for you to understand what's happening in our communities. You're not going to want to miss this interview. Patti Fox joins us live in studio. Coming up now is time for the news.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning, TGIF. 30 and clear in Denver as the sun rises, 33 in the Springs, expecting highs in the low 60s today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, police trying to find two girls reported missing in Brighton. Investigators say 12-year-old Brianna Rivas Alvarez and 13-year-old Omarlis Ramos that haven't been seen since Tuesday morning. They were last seen in the 800 block of Jessup Street, and police say they may be with two unidentified males. Anyone with information should contact the Brighton police or call 911. A Douglas County deputy is being sued for shooting and killing a man in Highlands Ranch last year. 23-year-old Jalen Sebron died after he was shot by Deputy Nicholas Moore outside the main event nearly a year ago. The deputy was responding to a reported shooting at the arcade, and Sebron was holding a gun at the time he was shot. One person was killed in a shooting Thursday on the east side of Colorado Springs. Police say the shooting was reported shortly before 5 o'clock last night in the Gunnison Street area. Officers arrived and found one person dead at the scene. The investigation is ongoing. A man from L.A. County is under arrest for allegedly sending a fake ransom demand regarding Nancy Guthrie.
Authorities say the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie vanished from her Tucson home last weekend in an apparent kidnapping. Prosecutors allege that Hawthorne resident Derek Colella sent text messages to the 84-year-old's relatives demanding payment in Bitcoin. Investigators say the messages were traced to Colella's home, and he confessed. He's charged in federal court with transmitting a ransom demand in interstate commerce and using a telecommunications device to threaten or harass. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Can you imagine trying to explain that in prison?
No.
What you did?
No, I
I faked
can't.
a ransom demand for Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah, we'd probably be
you're-
surprised, though, the stories that you hear
Yeah, it's
while
true.
in prison.
That's true.
Like, you did what?
Good night. This guy deserves to go away for a while. Think
Right.
about what you did.
Yeah, that's horrible. $50,000 reward is being offered now as they continue to search for Guthrie. U.S. officials are meeting with the foreign minister of Iran today to discuss Tehran's nuclear program, and hopefully to avoid a conflict in the region, the U.S. is demanding that Iran stop enriching uranium and curb its ballistic missile program. A federal judge is limiting ICE officers' use of warrantless arrests in Oregon. The judge is blocking DHS practice of arresting non-citizens in immigration sweeps without either a warrant or determination that the person was likely to escape. It said federal agents in Oregon have taken, quote, violent and brutal, end of quote, actions in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Okay, security will be tight at the Super Bowl this weekend. The stage is set for SB 60, and the Seahawks take on the Patriots, of course. The game is getting the highest national security designation, with dozens of federal, state, and local agencies all coming together to hopefully keep the event safe. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold confident going in to the Super Bowl this Sunday.
I'm very internally motivated, and I understand that. And I know that, I'm going to push myself.
All right, the Nuggets at the Bulls tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Tip-off. DU hockey at CC tonight. They drop the puck in downtown Colorado Springs at 7 o'clock. 33 in Colorado Springs, 30 in Denver. More on the Jeff and Bill Show. It's coming up on News Talk 710 KNUS, and now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs, all along the Front Range. This is Jeff and Bill. The Jeff and Bill Show continues. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Is it springtime in the Rockies? Well, it'll certainly feel that way here in the days ahead, with unseasonably warm temperatures taking us through the weekend and into Monday, with temperatures well into the 60s for highs, nighttime lows mostly in the 30s, some high and mid-level clouds at times, not much wind, very pleasant spring-like weather through Monday. We will see increasingly cloudy skies Monday night and Tuesday. And along the Front Range, and especially into the mountains, we're going to start to see some developing rain and snow showers in the plains and developing mountain snow as we work our way into late Monday night, but especially for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And a trend towards colder temperatures for Denver and Colorado Springs will be developing Tuesday through Thursday as well, as this big high-pressure system that's overhead now finally gives way and allows some Pacific fronts to move in, changing our weather as we get to middle to the end of next week. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And now waking up with AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. Saw the story on Libs of TikTok because nobody else covers it. None, the mainstream media couldn't find anything about this. Maybe they did, but Colorado mom speaking out after her 22-year-old daughter, Carissa, became severely disabled after an illegal alien who came into our country during the Biden administration crashed into her and fled the scene. Listen to this.
It's Patti Fox, and I live in Parker, Colorado. On March 28, 2025, my daughter Carissa's life and mine changed forever. My 22-year-old daughter was riding on the back of a motorcycle with a friend when Valeria Bermudez Marcano blew through a stop sign, cut across multiple lanes, and hit them, launching my daughter headfirst into the concrete barrier at Parker and 225. Instead of staying to help, to even check if my daughter was still alive, as any decent human being would do, Valeria fled the scene. She did not stay, she did not call 911, she did not check whether my daughter was still breathing. Passengers Luis, Bello, Rodriguez, and Estefany Carolina Marcano ran from the scene with her. They ran, leaving my daughter unconscious, bleeding, and alone in the roadway like cowards. Early predictions were that she would not make it. She suffered an open fracture of her femur, fractured arm, extensive facial fractures, and a traumatic brain injury so severe that her prognosis was grim. Our beautiful daughter's face was unrecognizable.
She then continues with the ongoing injuries that she's had to face.
Slowly, we spent the next few days getting more information about the driver. Valeria Bermudez Marcano was an unlicensed and uninsured Venezuelan immigrant. She was released on a $500 bond 2 days later. Carissa loved people. She believed deeply in helping others, including those who came from other countries. But on that night, Valeria repaid my daughter's kindness by leaving her in the road to die. So now, I have no choice but to pick up this mantle, because no parent should go through what I have. And sadly, I know I'm not the only one. We shouldn't have to wait until tragedy strikes to remove someone that is willing to break our laws and put American families at risk. Meanwhile, Chris is living with those consequences every day. She is fed through a G-tube, a surgically placed feeding tube in her stomach, because she can no longer eat on her own. We use a Hoyer lift, essentially a crane, to move her in and out of bed because she cannot sit, stand, or support her own weight. She has a tracheostomy that helps her breathe. She is wheelchair bound. She is nonverbal. She is minimally conscious. She doesn't smile. She doesn't laugh. She cannot tell me when she's in pain. She cannot say, "Mom, I'm scared." And she cannot say, "I love you." But she does know when she's around people who love her. That I can see.
That accident happened just outside of the office building where our studio is. And I had never heard it. I never saw it on the news. And I'm so grateful Libs of TikTok is sharing this story, and joining us now live in studio is the mother, the voice you just heard, Patti Fox. Good morning, Patti. Thank you for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I imagine that's hard to hear each time.
It is. Every time you hear it, it just brings us right back to that night. My whole family, her father, her stepfather, grandparents.
Tell me about that night, the accident. It was March of this last year that
March
took place.
28th, yes.
So tell us what's going on, what happened that night. Give us some more details.
That night, I received the phone call that no parent ever wants to receive. It was about midnight. She didn't have her ID on her. So it had taken them a bit of time to track back to me. And I was told that there was an accident and that she'd gone to the hospital, and we didn't know which hospital. So there was probably about a 30 to 45 minute scramble to find out what hospital she was even at, because they don't just release that information. And so we finally found her. She had been admitted as a Jane Doe, and we had to go in and say, yeah, that's her.
Tell me about walking into that hospital room.
It just it didn't feel real. I just that primal instinct that I needed to get to my daughter. That was the only thought in my head, and just praying and pleading with God, like, just please, not my daughter. Please, not tonight.
And the initial prognosis was that she might not make it, right? You're getting told by doctors that this is a minute-by-minute situation, right?
Correct. Yeah. They definitely made no bones about the gravity of her injuries, and we're preparing us that she might not make it. The initial police reports also stated the same.
So tell me what happened in the accident. The person came across multiple lanes of traffic. Was this Parker Road?
Yes. So they were traveling northbound on Parker Road. They were in the far left lane, and Valeria blew through the stop sign at the off ramp at 225, and just went immediately cut across 3 lanes, and without looking, and smacked him.
And your daughter was on the back of a motorcycle with whom? Was it her boyfriend or
Just a good friend of hers. Yeah.
And so she's on the back, and the car strikes her and
yes.
throws her?
Yes. They estimated that Valeria was traveling at 12 miles per hour, and they were traveling at 45 to 50 miles per hour. So they collided into basically the driver's side.
And it was determined that Valeria, who was the driver, the illegal immigrant, she was the one that was at fault in this case.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So the accident happens. Your daughter's thrown off the motorcycle, injured on the ground, right? Was she in the middle of the street? Was she on the sidewalk? Or
She was on the side. So, sorry.
That's fine.
That concrete barrier that's to the left. She was thrown into that barrier, hit head first. Her skull was actually intact. The brain damage occurred just simply by momentum, the speed of her brain colliding with her skull caused shearing and, deep into her brain, down by her brain stem, pretty much obliterating her basal ganglia, which is, that's in charge of, really primal functioning. So.
And then what time was this? Was it in the middle of the night?
The accident itself happened about 10:15 p.m.
Okay, so late in the evening, but there's still plenty of cars around that are on Parker Road at that hour. So your daughter's thrown off, hits that concrete barrier, and then Valeria and other people, I'm guessing they're in a car, flee the scene, right?
Correct. They exit the vehicle. There's some discrepancy in the police report versus how many people turned themselves back in. The police report says that 6 people left, exited the vehicle according to witnesses.
6 people were in the car, in one car?
That's what the initial witness statement said.
Yeah. Wow.
3 people turned themselves back in, Valeria, her boyfriend, and her aunt.
What happened to the other 3? Do we know?
We don't know.
Okay, so there are other people in the car that potentially fled the scene, and we've never heard about them. So they leave. Who comes to help your daughter?
Witnesses pulled up. Nobody that stopped saw the accident itself. They were pulling up pretty much as Valeria and her crew were fleeing. And so they were the ones that called 911 rather than, Valeria and her people.
And then, so somebody calls 911. I imagine they quickly respond, hopefully so, but with paramedics and police and all that stuff. What happened? Did they immediately get your daughter into an ambulance and try to get her to the hospital? Did police try to go pursue the people that hit your daughter, or did they have to wait? Did they get license plate information, or do you know about how the police responded?
Well, the car was left there, and so they were able to pull the tags right away.
Oh, they did? They left the car there?
They fled on foot.
On foot?
Yeah, they left the car there. And so they were able to track the vehicle back to the quote-unquote previous owner. And he initially tried to say, "Oh, I don't know her. I just sold her a car or whatever." And it turned, and then his wife was in the background yelling, "It's Valeria!"
So they did know each other. It wasn't a stolen car
Correct.
or anything like that.
Correct.
So they had given it to her to drive, or she. Is there any insight to how she got the car?
They supposedly she had purchased the car from him there was no like official bill of sale or whatever. She still had the plates from him, and I believe his insurance was still liable for the car.
It's a good reminder to definitely know where your car is going and who's behind it and who's driving in this situation, because they can hit somebody, nearly kill them, and then take off running, and you're the one stuck with a car connected to you. So they have the tags. The police get a hold of this man, and in the background, the wife says, "Oh, it's Valeria." So you mentioned Valeria and two other people eventually turned themselves in, right?
Correct. I'm not exactly sure about the timeline of it all. I do know that we had heard that she was in custody at 2 a.m. the following morning. And initial speculations were that substances were involved. However, she refused a breathalyzer and blood test, so that was never confirmed.
So then tell me about the prosecution side of this. Is she incarcerated? Is she still in this country? Has it been proven that she's an illegal immigrant from Venezuela? Talk to me about all that.
Yeah, Homeland Security definitely she's they confirmed that she's illegal here, and so we went through 7 continuances. We were told from the beginning that she would only get 6, and each continuance was granted because she has the right to learn how a trial or, accepting a plea offer would impact her status. So
that takes 6 or 7 continuances. Oh, my kids right now are doing the 6-7 thing because I just said it. But it what?
Yeah, 10 months it took for her to finally accept the plea that was offered.
Was she just sitting in an ICE detention facility or a Arapahoe County prison, or was she out and about?
Oh, she was out and about, working, living her life, enjoying her holidays with, loved ones, I would assume. Yeah. So there was no incarceration. She was actually held for like 48 hours after her initial arrest. She was released on a $500 bond. There was no communication with the DA or the victim's advocate. They said, $500 bond, she's not a flight risk, even though she'd already fled.
She's not a flight risk? Right. She's not even from this country. She came here illegal. She's not a flight risk. Oh, my goodness. I need to remind people who we're talking to. We're talking to Patti Fox. Her daughter, Carissa Aspens, was severely disabled after an illegal alien who came to this country during the Biden administration crashed into her, then fled the scene. And we're talking to the mom who's been impacted by this. Her video's gone viral on libs of TikTok. You can watch it on my X account if you go to x.com/Jeff Hunt. Okay, so she's deemed not to be a flight risk, which is crazy. They let her out. She goes through 6, 7 continuances. Then what is the plea deal that she accepts?
She accepted the Class 5 felony conspiracy to flee the scene of an accident with serious bodily injury. It carries a maximum sentence of 3 years. All the other charges, driving without a license, driving without insurance, reckless driving resulting in bodily injury, those were all dropped.
How did you feel about that?
There's no justice. There's nothing that can make what happened okay.
Yeah.
3 years maximum for a lifetime. My daughter did not die, but her life is forever altered. We've had a lot of people criticize us even and say, well, you should just let her go.
Gosh.
And because this is the reality of our life, it very much could never change.
Right. Oh my goodness. And I want to get to what your daughter's facing here in just a second. So where is Valeria right now?
I would imagine living her life, hanging out with her boyfriend.
I mean,
in Colorado.
Has the sentencing happened?
No, the sentencing has not happened
Okay,
yet.
so she was found guilty, or she pled guilty. 3 years is the maximum. She's out somewhere.
Yes.
She's still in this country.
Yes. Her our sentencing comes up March 27th. It's the 1 day short of a year anniversary.
Okay, March 27th is the... Okay. Why hasn't she been deported? Do you know? Have you heard from Homeland Security or anybody else? DAs, why she hasn't... I mean, why... This is often a question that we have to deal with in this country is, or taxpayers going to have to pay to incarcerate somebody that shouldn't be here. Should we just send them back? I'll get to whether or not you think that's a good idea, but have you heard from Homeland Security as to why they haven't deported her?
What the DA explained is that she has to fully understand the implications to her status. So she has to admit that she fully understands that she could be deported in order to be deported.
That seems like a basic sentence with a translator. I mean, a basic conversation. I don't understand why it has to take longer. That's not for you to defend at all. But what would be justice for you and your daughter? Would it be incarceration here in America and then deportation, or just deportation, get her out of here? What's justice for you?
I've gone back and forth on this. I thought, okay, if her sentence is imprisonment, then she should serve her full time, and then go. And then there's the other side of me that says, well, is it fair for taxpayers to pay for her care for the next 3 years? Get her out now, because at the end of the day, there is no sentence that is going to feel just to me. So whether she's incarcerated for 3 years or whether she gets deported tomorrow, that's neither here nor there to me. I think the most prudent decision for us would be to ship her out now.
Tell me how you felt you've been treated by the district attorney. Believe me, we don't have any connections to anybody here, so you can be perfectly honest if you feel like justice has been achieved. You feel like the police, district attorney have been helpful, Homeland Security, or do you feel like they haven't paid enough attention to this case and driven hard enough? What's your perspective on the entire justice system in your case?
Well, immediately after the accident, we were thrown into just, crisis mode, and our whole focus was, was Carissa, obviously, and hoping that, she gets better and being with her through that. So I had more or less kind of neglected the criminal side of things, thinking, it would take care of itself. The police report was pretty clear that her injuries were critical. However, in November, when I finally reached out to the victim's advocate, they had no idea Chris's medical condition. And, and that was pretty frustrating to me, because I was like, nobody called, nobody came, to check on her, nobody asked questions. Okay. And the same went, the DA was not aware of her condition. Part of the plea is restitution, financial restitution to the driver of the motorcycle, her friend, but she wasn't even included in that. And so when it was the last arraignment back in January, I finally took Carissa with us to the hearing so that they could see her. And the public defender looked up and looked at her and asked my dad, is that? And my dad said, that's Carissa. And her hand flew to her mouth and she was visibly shaken. So she had no idea. We suspect that they were either going to ask for an additional continuance or enter in a plea of not guilty. There was a lot of flurry of emotion and conversations between the DA and her. And then Valeria entered her guilty plea. I'm pretty sure at that point they were like, yeah, we're not going to win this.
Well, I'm glad that happened because everybody needs to be confronted about this reality.
Yes.
Now, we do have text messages coming in wanting to know what happened to her friend, the motorcycle driver.
He suffered 4 fractures of his collarbone. He had to get a titanium rod placed there, but he's doing well. I think his pain is more psychological. He blames himself a lot, and we do not at all. He's a dear, sweet friend, and we're very supportive of him.
That voice you're hearing belongs to Patti Fox. Her daughter, Carissa Aspens, became severely disabled after an illegal alien who came into our country during the Biden administration crashed into her, fled the scene, will face a maximum of 3 years, is living in Colorado right now. We're going to continue this conversation. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to check in on her daughter and see how her daughter's doing. More of the Jeff and Bill Show coming up. News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And now, waking up with AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show. So, came across this powerful story of a mother named Patti Fox telling the story of her daughter, Carissa Aspens, who became severely disabled after an illegal alien who came into the country during the Biden administration crashed into her and fled the scene. And listen to the injuries that Carissa has had to deal with.
Slowly, we spent the next few days getting more information about the driver. Valeria Bermudez Marcano was an unlicensed and uninsured Venezuelan immigrant. She was released on a $500 bond 2 days later. Carissa loved people. She believed deeply in helping others, including those who came from other countries. But on that night, Valeria repaid my daughter's kindness by leaving her in the road to die. So now, I have no choice but to pick up this mantle, because no parent should go through what I have. And sadly, I know I'm not the only one. We shouldn't have to wait until tragedy strikes to remove someone that is willing to break our laws and put American families at risk. Meanwhile, Carissa is living with those consequences every day. She is fed through a G-tube, a surgically placed feeding tube in her stomach, because she can no longer eat on her own. We use a Hoyer lift, essentially a crane, to move her in and out of bed because she cannot sit, stand, or support her own weight. She has a tracheostomy that helps her breathe. She is wheelchair bound. She is nonverbal. She is minimally conscious. She doesn't smile. She doesn't laugh. She cannot tell me when she's in pain. She cannot say, "Mom, I'm scared." And she cannot say, "I love you." But she does know when she's around people who love her. That I can see.
That's Patti Fox talking about her daughter that became severely disabled after an illegal alien came into this country, crashed into her, and then fled the scene. Tell me, how's your daughter doing today?
She is such a fighter, and we can see it every day in her therapies. She just, even when she's tired, even when she just isn't feeling it, she will do everything that she can. Yesterday we were able to get her into different chairs. Her life is spent going from wheelchair to bed. And so we were able to kind of prop her up in some of our recliners and kind of give her a normal sense of life, that we would all gather around in the living room and we can see things like we can see her muscles firing, her back muscles contracting. She just doesn't have the ability to actually move. So it's almost like the thought is there, but she can't perform it.
Does she interact with you guys when you talk to her? Does she look at you? Do you have that connection still?
She has eye contact is coming back slowly, but surely. She has less moments of looking through you and more moments of looking at you.
I bet that matters a lot.
It really does. Just this past week or so, she started to hurt the corners of her lips, kind of just briefly come up into a little smile sometimes. She's very choosy about who she smiles at. Her little sister gets more smiles than anybody.
That's sweet. We're talking with Patti Fox, her daughter, Carissa Aspens, severely disabled in an accident with an illegal alien that then fled and is still living in Colorado right now. Has pled guilty but has not been sentenced, not deported. There's so much to talk about, but tell me how this has changed your life, your day-to-day. What does it look like now?
Well, my husband and I, we had just gotten married August 1st of 2024, and I moved down. We lived in Fort Collins, And I moved down here after the accident. Between medical support and family support, it made more sense for her to be here. So my husband and I have actually lived apart more than we've lived together since being married. I had a career that I had built for myself as a single mom in marketing and PR, and now I'm a full-time caregiver for her.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's a tremendous demand on you almost every minute of the day.
Of the day and of the night.
Yeah.
A lot of nights I'm awake. She sleeps with a pulse ox, which keeps track of her heart rate and her oxygen levels, and it goes off. Oh, I don't know, 3-4 times a night, and I'm up with her and talking about how she interacts with us. She does cry now, and she does on her face. It shows fear. So sometimes at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm running in and she's terrified. And I don't know what she's thinking.
Tell me about how you handled all the medical expenses. You're a single mom.
Yeah.
This is not easy. I imagine the expenses were huge.
Yeah, we're definitely in the 7 figures at this point. I spend a lot of time fighting with insurance. Out of the blue, they'll decide that they don't want to pay for therapies anymore, or procedures that are needed. And so, yes, I spend quite a bit of time fighting with insurance.
Do you have a GoFundMe to help you through this?
We do.
Yeah. I'll link to that on x.com/Jeff Hunt. You can support Patti Fox, her daughter Carissa Aspens, only 22 years old when this accident happened. To think about all the opportunity that she had in her life, the energy and the youthfulness that she was robbed from.
The last text that she sent me was about 2 hours before the accident. And she said that, now that she's embracing everything that life has to give her, she couldn't be happier. And I read that text over and over and over again.
You and I talked prior to this yesterday. I wanted to just call and get a sense of who you were and get this scheduled. And you talked about your faith being really important to sustain you through this. Share that.
It is purely by the grace of God that I have the strength every day to get up and go through it and, face our Groundhog Day over and over again. Jesus has been so faithful in sending us the top-notch medical teams, incredible therapies. He told me he would send us help, and he has made good on that promise. The doctors have said she's probably going to be significantly disabled for the rest of her life. They're not sure if meaningful communication will ever return. And you know what? They don't have the final say. My Lord does. And if he heals her, I will praise him. And if he doesn't, I will praise him.
Oh, man. Woo. That is Patti Fox talking about her daughter, Carissa Aspen, who's been severely disabled after an illegal alien crashed into her, fled the scene, and is now going to spend a lifetime trying to recover. Thank God she's got a good mother, stepfather, father in her life that's taking care of her. Would you do me a favor and pray for Patti this morning? Pray for, most importantly, Carissa Aspens, her daughter who's recovering, and we will continue this conversation. More of the Jeff and Bill Show coming up. News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver.
And now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're talking with Patti Fox. Her daughter, Carissa Aspens, became severely disabled after an illegal alien who came into our country during the Biden administration crashed into her, fled the scene, okay? Then turns herself in. It takes 6 or 7 continuances. I still don't understand why. Apparently, she needs to have this explained to her over and over and over again, what she did and the consequences of her actions. She then pleads guilty. The max for crashing in and permanently disabling somebody and then fleeing the scene, in this case, is going to be 3 years. Right now, this woman, Valeria, is out there living with her boyfriend illegally in Colorado, hasn't been deported, will probably only spend a year or 2 in jail, and then probably just released right back out. Now, I want to, by the way, the text messages are so hot right now. Patti, so much support for you. 3712, many prayers for Patti Fox and her daughter. God bless this mother. Jacqueline writes, I'm pretty tough, but this has me in tears. You are connecting with people. They feel terrible and are praying for you and want to support you. So, Patti, thank you for sharing your story. And I want to ask you about this because you're not just sharing your story to raise awareness about your daughter, which is important, but you want to see change, I think. Tell me about that.
I do want to see change. I want to see enforcement of laws that already exist. Nobody's surprised by any of these things, so we need to buckle down and hold people accountable. Politicians that choose financial gain, voter gain over the well-being of their constituents. It's unforgivable.
Now, you don't strike me as someone who's politically active. I'm a right-winger, and Billy and I debate politics all day, but you don't strike me as somebody that's out there, engaging in politics on a regular basis. Did this force you into this issue?
Absolutely. No, I am. I have never been a political person. I would have considered myself, I guess, a silent conservative. I voted, but for the most part, I kept my thoughts to myself. I think you can maybe on my Facebook see 3 political posts, for over the decade plus that I've been on it. And this brought the fight to my doorstep. And I have always promised my children that I will never stop protecting them. And so now that I'm in the fight, I'm all in.
What does that mean, all in? What are the next steps?
I do believe that because our voices get silenced so quickly, the mainstream media refuses to report on what is happening.
Has there been a single article about this?
No.
Not one?
Not one. Outside of Libs of TikTok. Not one. So I would like to see families be able to come together and organize, and our voices will get louder if they're together. They try very quickly to isolate us and say, oh, well, it could have been an American that hit her. Legal doesn't really make a difference. Actually, it does. And I think if we can combine our voices and start demanding of our politicians to enforce laws that already exist and, and get our streets safer, it makes sense. Some of the arguments that you hear today, like, if you've got 10 people that are murderers and 2 of them are legal, if you remove the 2, then you have less murders, right? It just kind of seems common sense. So if you've got, people that are unlicensed and uninsured that are on the roads, driving erratically, unsafely, that puts families at risk. And I don't like the idea that somebody has to be hurt before something happens. I think we need to be proactive.
Wow, that's Patti Fox. I'm going to link to her on x.com/Jeff Hunt. You can follow her on X. We'll send out the GoFundMe so you can support her beautiful daughter, Carissa, and all the battles she has coming up. Let's get justice for Carissa. Patti, thank you so much for coming in to share your story today.
Thank you so much for bringing me.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll continue to follow the story. Hope to have Patti back in the future. Coming up next, Victor Marks is going to join us for an interview. He's got an announcement. You're not going to want to miss that. More The Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710, KNUS in Denver.
And now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. We'll be right back.